One of the amazing things about building custom homes and working with architects is introducing different materials for different building elements. In this instance, using external metal doors rather than your standard aluminium. Now with this home here, we've actually site measured these frames to ensure that the overall height and width work perfectly with the overall finishes of the home. In this instance, we've got the actual base of the frame, which has been recessed into the slab. So what we've done there is actually with the construction of the slab, provided a recess in the actual slab itself to allow the aluminium frame to sit in there at a later date. Now that height's adjusted, so once the floor coverings are installed, they're basically sitting flush with the top of the aluminium. And what we do is we call that a zero threshold. So there's actually no step up from the inside to the outside of the home. In addition to that, the overall heights, what we also do is take into account what the ceiling finishes are going to be. So either being plaster, decorative paneling, which we actually have in this home. Now what we do is we actually adjust the height to ensure that the top of the frame is set down, that perfect margin for the paneling to seamlessly follow over the top of the actual aluminium frame. So once it's all done, there's no gap between the top of the frame and the finished ceiling line. So it's a nice streamlined finish. So carrying on with the discussion about the external steel door frames. So as I mentioned, the actual base of the frame is recessed into the slab. So as you can see here, we've actually incorporated a recess in the slab for the frame to sit in. Now the height and the top of that threshold has been set for the floor coverings to work perfectly in line with one another. So it's not the actual floor covering, but it's an example. Simply that slides into the frame and you can see that that's basically flush with the top of the aluminium, and that's what we call a zero threshold. It's a nice seamless finish obviously from the inside to the outside of the home. Another great material or feature introduced by the architect on this particular build is the introduction of a galvanized round steel column. As you can see, it's connected to the actual subfloor of the home, which is another steel member. Now this will be an exposed structural element rather than having actually a brick pillar. So again, it's testing the boundaries on different materials, obviously to create an amazing finish to a home. One critical design element that we need to consider prior to designing the engineering of the home is any step downs that are required in the actual subfloor. Now with this home, it is required. Now as you can see, there's obviously a step down from the main living area to the actual wet area itself. So common sense is we need to ensure that the beams and posi struts that support this area incorporate the step down that's necessary. Now this step down is required for a later part of construction. Now that's the installation of shower grates and shower screens. So one NCC requirement is that if you have actually a shower screen that is fully frameless, so no frame at all, and basically there's no door introduced either, then you basically need to ensure that you've got a floor waste inside the shower as well as a floor waste on the outside of the shower. Now, it's an NCC requirement, so the reality is we have a floor waste. To create fall to the floor waste, we need to basically introduce a sand and cement compound later in construction after waterproofing, which creates the fall from the high point to the low point being the actual grate itself. Just in case the shower overflows or there's a blockage, there's actually a secondary floor fixture to pick up any overflow of the water. So again, this is something that needs to be thought about prior to basically building permit through the actual design phase. Previously, the step down required to the wet area to service the floor waste on the outside of a frameless shower has been adopted here. Now basically the high to the low point, we've got a measurement of 100 millimeters. Now these measurements are basically detailed in line with what the floor coverings are going to be. So hypothetically, if we've got carpet in one area to tiles in the other, most probably they're going to be different thicknesses. Therefore, we need to adjust the actual sand and cement compound in this area to ensure that it's adjusted to the precise height. So once the tiles are completed, they're basically flush or almost in line with the actual finished floor covering on the outside of the wet area.